guys, welcome back to our channel. As you can already see from the title of this video, today is story time. So basically it's just gonna be me talking to you guys. Let's get right into it. So for today's story time, I will be talking about the time when I told my parents that I was pregnant. For those of you that don't know, I got pregnant when I was 17 years old. I have a daughter now. She is 9 years old now, and I had her when I was 17, but I turned 18 like 2 weeks after she was born because my birthday is 2 weeks after hers. So I was 18 mom at 17, pretty much. So back in 2008, I was dating a guy that I met at church. When I met him, I was already dating someone else. Things weren't really that good between us just because of the simple fact that he did not want to go to church at all. He did not even believe in God at all. And I respect everyone's opinion about believing or not believing or what they think it's right or what they think it's wrong. Like, I'm not going to judge anyone or say, no, you're supposed to do what I'm doing. You're supposed to go to the church that I'm going to. Like, everyone is entitled to their own opinions. One of the main reasons that things did not work out between the guy I was dating at that time was because of that reason. We dated for about a year, but yeah, it wasn't working out. Deep inside, I understood that I wanted to be with someone that also believed in God, at least believed in God. You know, I'm not saying that you have to be going to church or you have to be super religious or anything like that, because I'm not religious. Like, I don't consider myself being religious. So I'm just saying that he was not the type of guy that I would want to commit to, basically. When we started going to this church, I met this guy whom I thought was like what I wanted the other guy to have. Like, he was going to church, he believed in God, obviously. He would always be one of those persons that would always be like right there at the front, you know, participating, and yeah, I mean, it just seemed like he was the kind of guy that I wanted. So I actually broke up with my other boyfriend just so I could start dating this one. I know it seems kind of dumb now that I think about it. I was a teenager, I was young, I didn't know any better. I was at that moment where I thought I was right and my parents were wrong, you know. Everyone goes through that at some point. So yeah, I started dating him, and I did tell my parents. I told them that I didn't want to date this other guy anymore. And I didn't tell them that I wanted to date someone else. I just told them I didn't want to date him anymore. So they were okay with that. How they found out that I was dating this new guy is because they noticed that, you know, that we would talk a lot in church, or like always be together, or, you know, like parents know. Even when you think they don't know, they know. So yeah, they actually asked me, like, what's going on with this guy? Like, I see you hanging around with him a lot and stuff. So I told them that I actually liked him and that he liked me and that we had talked about dating and that he wanted to talk to them to make sure they were okay with it. So all that happened, they were okay with it. They gave us some rules. One of the ones I didn't like at all was the fact that whenever we hung out, we had to take my brother with us. And that's how it was with the previous boyfriend as well. Like, anywhere I would go with him, I'd have to take my brother, you know. Typical Mexican parents, which I was fine with. It's not like I hated my brother or anything, or had a better relationship with him or anything. Like, I was okay with it. But I ended up doing things that I shouldn't have done without my parents' permission. I ended up like not telling them where I was going. I just ended up doing a bunch of things that I wasn't supposed to, that I knew were wrong, and I still did them. So I found out I was pregnant in 2008, but I started dating him in 2007, on August 2007. So we were dating for a year and 3 months when I found out I was pregnant. It was on November 2008, actually. So it was exactly 10 years ago, because it's currently November. So it was exactly 10 years ago. On November 2008, I didn't have any symptoms other than missing my period, because I was pretty regular on that all the time, every month, same day, or not the same day, but you know, the 28 calendar days. I was always regular. So when that month came around and I noticed that I still hadn't had my period and it was about that time, I did start thinking, okay, like, could I be pregnant? I just let like a week pass by just to see if I would get it late or something. But I didn't have any symptoms. I mean, obviously it was my first pregnancy. I didn't know like if it was normal or not, or like do every pregnancies have to have symptoms to mean that you are pregnant. So I didn't know any of that. So like a week passed by and I still didn't get my period, and something inside of me told me I was pregnant. Like, it's something I can't even explain. Like, I've told my parents this, I've told my sister this. Like, I just knew. I knew I was pregnant. Like, I didn't have to take a test. Like, something inside of me just told me, yes, you are pregnant. Like, I just knew it. I felt like I was pregnant, you know, like there was just something telling me, not because of symptoms. Like, I never got like morning sickness. I never felt like fainting or lightheaded or anything like that throughout my pregnancy. It was just that feeling inside of me telling me that, yes, you are pregnant, girl. So what I did next was, okay, well, I need proof. So I went to get a pregnancy test. I mean, I could already drive, but I couldn't just like get out of the house and say, okay, I'm gonna go to the store and do this, because I didn't have a job. So anytime I would go to the store, it was only when my parents needed something, or like my mom needed something that she was missing for the meal that day or whatever. So that was the only time I was able to go to the store. So I was waiting for them to tell me to go so that I could go ahead and get it then. My mom did end up telling me to go to the grocery store to buy something that she had forgotten. So we had like a dollar store close to it where we used to live. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the dollar store and stop by the dollar store and get one, because I didn't even know at that time that grocery stores had them too. So I just got whatever my mom told me to get, and then I stopped by the dollar store and got one. And I remember I also got like snacks or something because I didn't want to be paying for just a pregnancy test. And yeah, so I got the test. I went back home. I gave my mom what she asked for, and then I went to take the test because I just needed to know. Like, I couldn't wait for the next day, because I know they say that it's more accurate when you do it first thing in the morning. But I just needed to do it because I had the feeling I was, so I just needed proof so I could tell my daughter's dad that, okay, yes, I am pregnant. So yeah, I went into the bathroom. I peed on the stick. I didn't even have to wait. Like, I read the instructions somewhat just to make sure that I was doing it right, but like the waiting part and everything, all that, I just ignored it because I just was so impatient. I needed to know. So after I did it, like, I didn't even have to wait a minute. Like, as soon as I peed on that stick and I grabbed it and looked at it, like, I was still sitting right there on the toilet looking at it. It was already like the line started like right away. Like, I didn't have to wait. I looked at the instructions and I see that pregnant meant a positive sign. It was a blue positive sign and then another line beside it. That meant pregnant. But then if it was two like vertical lines, that was not pregnant. So this one had the positive sign and then the vertical line on the side. So to me that meant very pregnant because it was like right away. I didn't have to wait. Like, the little blue line started coming up right away. So I was like, yep, I am pregnant. It wasn't such a surprise to me because I was already almost sure. I just knew. So at that moment, I'm just sitting there thinking, I know it might sound weird, but in that moment, I got happy. Like, I always knew that a child was a blessing. I always knew I wanted one. Ever since I was like a little girl, I think most little girls dream of becoming a mommy one day. So I did get happy. My dream wasn't to become pregnant as a teenager at all. But just the fact of knowing that there was like a tiny little something growing inside of me, it felt happy. I felt good. Like, I cried as soon as I saw the test. I did cry, and I can't tell you now if it was out of happiness because I was nervous, I was scared, it was probably just a bunch of mixed emotions at that moment because I was young and I didn't know how my parents were gonna react. I didn't know how her dad was gonna react. So yeah, I was scared. also. But I was happy at the same time. I was planning on telling her dad first, like right away. He would come to the house every Wednesday. I had told him that I had a surprise for him. So that day when he came, I told him to step outside for a little while because I wanted to give him the surprise outside. So we stepped out for a little while. I had the pregnancy test like behind my back, and I was like, I remember I told you I had a surprise for you? Okay, so this is what it is. He didn't even know what it was at first, like what it says. Like, I guess, I don't know if he had seen one before or not, but he still didn't get the idea what I was surprising him with. And then I told him it's a pregnancy test, and he's like, okay, so what does this mean? So what does this mean? I'm like, it means I'm pregnant. It means you're gonna be a dad and I'm gonna be a mom. So his first reaction was like, he was confused. He was probably scared. He wasn't happy like I was, because I was happy. Like, I just remember I was really happy. And he's like, he was just staring at it. Then I just hugged him. I remember I hugged him and I was like, well, aren't you happy? And he's like, I don't know what to feel. Like, are we supposed to be happy about this? I'm like, well, I'm happy. I want to have it. I know we have a lot of things to think about and talk about, but right now I just don't want to think about any of that. I just want to enjoy this moment. So that's just a little part of how I told him, because obviously this was supposed to be about how I told my parents. So that's coming next. So sorry if this is like super long, but I just want y'all to kind of get the idea of everything that happened. So then we talked about how we're gonna tell my parents. At first, he didn't really believe that that test was accurate enough, I guess. Just, I don't know if it was because I bought it at a dollar store, because I told him where I got it from. So he's like, okay, well, let me go get some at the pharmacy, some like more expensive ones, and take those as well to make sure, because I had only taken one. I bought one, I took that one, and that was enough for me. But he's like, I want to like make sure that the test is right. So that day we didn't really talk much about it, because I told him I didn't want to think about all of that right now. Like, I was happy, and I wanted him to be happy too. I wanted him to get excited about it. So I kept telling him, okay, you're gonna be a dad. Like, that's something to be happy about. Like, imagine like a little baby inside of me is growing. It's just something beautiful. So that day I wanted probably like block all the negativity away for a little while and just focus on the fact that we were having a baby. So we didn't really talk much about it that day. On Friday, we used to have like gatherings at our house from church. So like every Friday we would go to a different house, and that Friday I remember it was our turn. Like, they went to our house, so obviously he went too, and that's when he took the test that he bought. He bought some from the pharmacy. He wanted me to take, I think it was 2 of them in a box. He said, go take these 2. He had told me like over the phone that he was gonna go to the restroom and he was gonna take the test with him, and he was gonna leave him under the sink, and that whenever he walked out that I needed to go in, act like, I'm using the restroom, and get the test, take them, and leave him under the sink again, so that whenever he went back he could see them and make sure that they were also positive. So we did all that. And we were all right there in the living room, like with the people from church. And I could tell that my mom was looking at us weird, like, what are these 2 doing? What's going on? I guess we were a little too obvious, maybe. I don't know, or maybe she could see that we were worried about something, or just like not focused on what we were doing at the moment. So she did end up telling me later that she knew something was going on that day. I did both of the tests again just to prove to him that they were right. Again, those 2 tests came out positive right away, like no waiting, no anything. So I left them there just so he could go back and see them. And yeah, that's the day we were like, for sure we are pregnant. And what are we gonna do? How are we gonna tell my parents? So I told them that I wanted to tell them, because I didn't want them, because I had no idea how their reaction was gonna be. So I didn't know if they were gonna get mad at him or try to do something to him if we were both there together. So I was like, let me handle it. Like, I know how to talk to them about it. I know I will think about how to tell them, and then I'll let you know once they know, or they might let you know once they know, because obviously they're gonna want to talk to you too. So I remember, I don't know if I did it right away like that Monday, because I didn't do it over the weekend. I was thinking of how to tell them, and I couldn't think of anything to say. So the best way I thought about it was through a letter, because till this day I still express myself better in the letter. I feel like that's just the way I am. So I knew I had to write them a letter, and I wanted to write each of them a different letter, because there's like I know my parents, so I know what to tell one and what to tell the other, or how to approach them, you know. It's just they're different. They don't think the same, they don't act the same way, and they have different reactions as well. So I did a separate letter for each, just so that I was able to tell them in different ways. So yeah, I wrote those letters. I probably wrote them over the weekend. I'm pretty sure I told them on that next Monday, because I knew they had to know right away. I didn't want to hide it, and I also knew that I had to go to the doctor and get checked and everything. So the only way I could do that is with parents' permission, because I was underage. So I wrote them a letter, and I put each of the letters in a separate envelope with their names on the front, or not the names, just mom and dad. And we had a TV, we had a big TV that we were not using. It was just sitting there on small living room, I guess, that we never really used. And the laundry room was like right beside it, like the door to get to the laundry room was right where the TV was. So it's like, okay, they always walk there, because they always go to the laundry room to either take their dirty clothes or to wash clothes or something. So this is like a perfect spot for them to see it. So I actually taped the envelopes on the TV in a little corner, just so they would see it as soon as they were about to walk into the laundry room. So I left them there before I went to school. I would go to school. I would leave for school early in the morning, so most of the times they were still in the rooms. I wanted to say bye to them. I went to school. That day was like just stepping out of my house was like the most scariest thing to me, because I knew that once I stepped out and left for school, there was no going back. Like, there's no way I can go and get the letters back, so they won't see them. Like that day was the day they were gonna find out. So I didn't know how they were gonna react. I had no idea. Like, it was a first for all of us. So the whole time on the ride to school, I'm just thinking about it. Like, have they seen it yet? What are they thinking? In class, I'm thinking the same thing. I can't focus. I just keep thinking about that. Like, looking at the clock and thinking, have they seen it yet? Like, have they read it already? Have they, like, what was their reaction? Are they talking about it? Like, I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what they were gonna say. I didn't know what they were gonna do. So around, I don't even think it was midday yet. It was probably like 11 in the morning. I hear the announcements, and they're calling for me to go to the office for a checkout. So that only means one thing. My parents are there checking me out of school so we could talk. Because they were the only ones that were able to check me out. Like, no one else can go and pick me up from school but them. So I had to be them. So I was like, oh my God. So I started getting my things ready, taking my sweet time, getting everything ready, getting out of the class, walking towards the office. I was so nervous. I was scared. I was worried. Everything at once. It was just like, it was scary just walking to the office. And like, in the high school I went to, like, the office, it's like a little room, but the walls are all glass, so you can see through it. So whenever you're walking towards the office, you can actually see inside the office. You know, like the front desk or the people there waiting for their kids or whatever. So I was trying to see, like, from far away, trying to see if it was both of them, if it's just one of them, if they were sitting down, standing up. I don't know, anything that would kind of give me an idea of what was, how they were. But no, I couldn't see them inside. So as I'm getting closer to the office, I see my dad standing outside of the office. He's not in there anymore. He's just like outside, like looking towards where I'm supposed to be coming from and just standing there waiting for me. And I see them and he sees me and I just can't say anything. Like, he doesn't say anything. I can't say anything. I know he's upset. I can tell, like you can tell by my dad's expressions right away, whether he's happy, upset, sad, angry. So I knew he had to be upset. Like, I could tell he was. I think he just said hi, and I said hi back, and that's it. My mom was waiting in the car. We both walked out of school towards the car where they parked. And I really can't remember what happened on the way there, like from the school to the house. As much as I try to remember, like, did we say anything in the car? I'm pretty sure we did, and I don't think they started talking about it in the car. Like, I asked them before I did this video, do y'all remember, like, exactly, like, details about that day, what happened, or what the letter said, or, you know, anything? And they also said they can't remember. In my opinion, I think it's a good thing, because I've prayed about it so many times. I just wanted to forget all the bad memories, or the parts where we were just upset or crying about it. Like, I wanted to forget the bad things, and I just wanted to focus on the positive things about my pregnancy and remember it as something beautiful and a blessing. So I am sure that those prayers were heard, and that's why I can't remember. As much as I try, I just can't remember specific details. But anyways, we got to the house. I remember I went to my room to put my stuff up, and then they called me. They said, come to the room, we're gonna have a talk. So I just left my things. I didn't even eat or anything. I just went straight to the room. As I'm walking into their room, they're both sitting on their bed, and the letters I wrote to them are like right there, right in front of them. They're not in the envelopes anymore. The envelope is like on the side, and just the piece of paper that I wrote the letter on is just sitting right there in front of them. And I just go up to the bed and just sit down. I couldn't even look my parents in their face at that moment. I just felt I felt ashamed of myself, but more so, it was more like I knew they were disappointed. I knew that's not what they wanted for me, and I knew I had let them down. So I felt bad. I was really sorry that I was causing them that disappointment or that pain that they were feeling at the moment. But I was also scared. I just knew that it was going to be a big change in my life overall. So the first thing that my dad asked me was, do you have anything to tell us? And I just looked down at the letters, and I was like, everything I had to tell you guys is already on those letters, and I'm sure you already read. And he's like, and then he just looks at me and tells me, that's not what I asked. I asked, do you have anything to tell us? So I knew he was mad, first of all, because it's the way that he was telling me things. So I just said no, because I didn't know what to tell them. Because I didn't even know how to start talking about the subject. I didn't know what to say. I knew they were going to want to know, okay, what are you going to do? I didn't know what I was going to do. The only thing that I knew and that I was sure of since I found out I was pregnant was that I wanted to have the baby. There was no doubt about that. Like, I never ever thought about not having the baby or giving it up for adoption, or or taking care of the situation, or whatever you guys want to call it. I never thought about that. In my mind, in my heart, like, I knew that I wanted to have the baby. I just knew it. So that was the only thing I knew. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I don't know how I was gonna raise a baby. I don't know how, my daughter's dad was gonna be able to support us, or if he was going to be able to, or if my parents were even gonna be willing to let me, move out or live with him or marry him or whatever. I didn't know any of that, so I couldn't tell them that. So we just start talking about it. They tell me how they feel. They each take their own time to tell me what they think I should do or what they feel it's best. And then I tell them what I want. I tell them I do want to have the baby. I tell them I obviously want to do things right, even though I had already done many things wrong. I wanted to start doing them right, so I wanted to get married, first of all. I didn't want to just move out and start living with him. I knew I wanted to get married first, and I knew I wanted to do it right away. I didn't want my child to be born and not have married parents. Like, I knew she was conceived when we were not married, but I knew I wanted to fix that right away somehow. I don't know. So I do tell them that I do want to get married. They asked me if my boyfriend at that moment knows about it already, and how did he react, and what does he think of doing. And we talk about all of that. I knew it was gonna be hard, and even though I knew like the worst feeling at that moment was just knowing that I had disappointed them. Just looking at your parents and seeing them crying because of something that you did, something that's causing them pain, something that's causing them disappointment, and I don't know exactly what they were thinking at the moment, but I knew that I was like very, very upset, very sad, just at the fact of knowing that I had disappointed them. I knew that what I was doing was wrong. I knew that I shouldn't have been doing several things that I was doing. I knew I had not only let myself down, I let them down, and I let God down too, because I understood what God wanted me to do, and I chose to disobey him, to basically say, I don't care what you want, this is what I want, and this is what I'm gonna do. And that's basically what I did at the moment. And I know it was wrong, and it's something that I just gotta deal with and live with for the rest of my life. Like, no one's gonna take that away, regardless of the fact that I'm doing good now, and that I'm happy now, and that I'm at peace now. Just thinking back to those times, to those days, just knowing that it happened, and that I failed, and that I did that wrong, and that I let them down and let God down. Just knowing that I did that is something that no one's ever gonna take that away. It's something I have to deal with, I have to live with for the rest of my life. So the consequences of your own actions are always gonna be there. No one can take those away, no one can fix those, no one can... obviously God does forgive you, and he does forget. He forgives and forgets. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. So that day we talked for hours. I remember my siblings coming home from school and knocking at the door, and my parents just said, we're talking, we're having a talk, just eat whatever you can find right there in the kitchen, we'll be out in a minute. It just seemed like we talked forever in there. We were all crying, and I think at that moment, even though they're adults and probably stronger than me, like, I think in that specific moment, we all felt weak, we all felt scared, we were all worried about what was going to happen. Like, there was nothing that could make us feel better at that moment, only praying. So I remember we just talked about several things, and the last thing that my dad said was, we can't do this alone, we need God. Sorry, like, if I get emotional, but as you can see, it's still like something that affects me till this day, because it's just something that I know that I did wrong. And I never meant for my parents to suffer the way they did, or put them through that, or have to ask God, like, what did we do wrong? What did we do wrong? How did we not raise her good enough? Or, it's just something that makes me really emotional, because it's something that they shouldn't have gone through. And I put them through that, and I was very sorry at the moment, and I didn't know how to make it right. I didn't know how to fix it. Like, we were all scared. We all, like, my parents and me, the three of us, we knew that we couldn't handle this on our own because it was something obviously that wasn't planned, something that we weren't gonna know how to handle the right way, you know. And obviously they, like, no parent's gonna want suffering for their kid. No parent's gonna want them to have to struggle through life or have to decide whether you're gonna follow your dreams and achieve all your goals and go to school, go to college, graduate, all of that, or raise a kid and stay home and be there for them. And that's something that at that moment I feel like they knew I was gonna have to go through, and they didn't want that for me. So the last thing that we did that day was just prayed. Like my dad just told me, we're gonna ask God for guidance. We're gonna let him take care of this because I don't know what to do. Your mother doesn't know what to do. You don't know what to do. So we're just gonna pray and let him guide us through the process. We don't want to do anything that he doesn't want us to do anymore. Like, we're done doing that. We're done doing whatever we want to do. So from now on, we're just gonna let him take care of everything. We're gonna ask for his guidance. We're gonna let him handle everything because he's the only one in control, and he's the only one that can help us heal, I guess, from this and handle everything the best way possible for all of us. So we just prayed that day. After we prayed, they just told me that they were disappointed, but that I was not alone, that they were gonna be there for me, and that they obviously wanted to see me finish school. I was a senior in high school, so I was gonna graduate that coming year. So that's one thing that I did promise them. I was like, I promise you guys that I will graduate. Like, this is not something that's gonna stop me from graduating because I am pregnant, but I'm gonna keep going to school. Like, I don't want to drop out. I want to graduate. I know I want to, and I will do it. So after that, we talked about when are we gonna tell my brothers and my sister, because they were young. So my mom said that I had to go to the doctor first just to make sure that everything was okay before I told them. So we did make an appointment for the doctor that week, and after we all went. My daughter's dad went too, and I remember they told me they were gonna do an ultrasound just to make sure that everything was okay, just because I was young, and also because at the moment I was underweight to be pregnant. Like, maybe I was at the right weight for my age and, you know, height or whatever, but for a pregnant girl, I was underweight. I was only weighing 110 pounds. So they put me at high risk for the first few weeks, only because I started gaining weight right away. After they told me that I needed to gain weight to get out of high risk clinic, then I started gaining weight. So I was only at high risk for like the first couple of weeks. They told me I was about 3 weeks pregnant. So they told me my due date was July 22nd, according to the ultrasound, which she was born July 15th. After the ultrasound, they gave me the little pictures, just so that I could keep, you know, just, you can't really tell it was a baby yet. It was just like a little bean. It just looked like a little bean. Like, after I picked out her name, I used to call her my little jelly bean, because her name's Jaylene. When I was pregnant and talked to her, I would say my jelly bean, my little jelly bean. Just because I remember from that first ultrasound, that's what it looked like. So because I had those little pictures, I told my parents that I was gonna tell my brothers and my sister with those pictures, that I was just gonna hand it to them and let them see what it was, or see if they knew what it was, give them the news then. So we went home. I remember my dad, I think it was after we ate, because we were still at the table. My dad said that there was something that we wanted to talk to them about, and we were all sitting at the table. At that moment, my daughter's dad was there too. I hand them the pictures, see if they know what it is. Obviously Daisy didn't know at that time. She was like 6, because she was 7 when Jalen was born. So she was like around 6. My brother, the oldest one, was probably around 14, and then Oscar, was the youngest one, was 12, something like that. So I hand them the pictures, and as soon as my youngest brother that's sitting beside me sees it, he's like, "Are you pregnant?" He looks at me and says, "Are you pregnant?" And I said, "Yes." And he just puts the picture back down. He just starts crying like really bad, and I feel so bad. I just turn around, like I get up from my chair, I turn around and hug him, and I start crying as well. And I just tell him, "It's okay, it's okay, it's not your fault." I remember I just keep telling him that it's not your fault, it's not your fault. And I kiss him on his head, and I'm just, we're just both sitting there crying, hugging each other. And I don't know exactly what his thoughts were at the moment or why he felt so emotional, but I felt really bad that I was doing that to them as well, because like I said, out of the whole situation in general, and just knowing that it was going to be something difficult to deal with, the worst part was knowing that I hurt the people that I loved the most, putting them through that kind of pain, or like they shouldn't have to go through that. They shouldn't have to be thinking that their sister, the one that's supposed to be, the oldest, the role model, the one that takes care of them, it's now gonna have to deal with a situation like this. They shouldn't have to think about that. So then my dad asks my other brother, "Do you have anything to tell your sister? Or that you want to tell her? Anything you want to tell her?" And he just says, I wouldn't want to say anything, because if I do, I'm gonna start crying too. So, it was just really painful for all of us, because we knew it was going to be something hard. It was going to be something that we were all going to struggle with. Something that you don't want to happen in your family, or like I was too young. I shouldn't have to be thinking about dealing with something like that. So it was something really hard for all of us. It was a day that we couldn't do much but just cry together, because we didn't know what was going to happen. We had no idea how things were going to change in our family. It was just really difficult. It was a really difficult day, but I was very grateful to know that I had them, because like, even though they had the right to be mad at me for making them feel that way, or because I was making dumb decisions or doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, they had the right to be mad, and they had the right to tell me, "You're dumb," or "for doing that," or "what were you thinking," or screaming at me, or whatever they wanted to do, whatever they felt like doing at the moment. They didn't. I was blessed with such a supportive family. Like, none of them ever told me leave, or you don't deserve to be here anymore, or anything like that, even close to that. It was just the opposite. They supported me, they helped me, they made me feel like I wasn't alone. I felt like, even though it was something that I was gonna get criticized about eventually, not only from church, like from school and family, friends, they would be talking about me, or judging me, or at least I had them. I had them, I had my family, my parents, my siblings, who were there, who were always going to be there, regardless. So that day, the only person that was actually happy or excited about the news was Daisy, because she was 6 years old. So when she found out, she was like, "So you're going to have a baby?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have one right now, right here. It's inside of me. It's little, but it's going to grow, and then it's going to be born, and it's going to be a little baby." And she was like, "Yay, oh my god, you're having a baby, yay, I'm so happy." Like, she was really happy about it. Like, she could see us crying around her, but she wasn't crying. She was happy. She was excited, and at least we got that, little happy moment at that time, that we just started laughing at her at the fact that she was all excited and happy about it, which made us all feel a little better. So that's how they all found out. Eventually, my friends at school, they started finding out just because I started showing. Like, I started showing really early, like 3 months. You could already tell I was pregnant because I was so skinny. So at 3 months, I already had a little bump. So I didn't really tell any of my friends, like, "So I'm pregnant," or anything. They just found out, like one by one started finding out, and most of them were happy for me. They were congratulating me and, you know, rubbing my belly all the time. I could go on about the story of what happened next and when we found out that she was going to be a girl and all of that, but I think that's enough for this video because I don't want it to be super long. I just wanted it to be about that specific subject of me finding out and telling my parents. But if you guys want me to do another story time about when we found out she was going to be a girl, or, you know, anything else, or when I got married, because we did get married before she was born, or, you know, all of that, I can do separate videos on that, and just comment down below if that's what you would want to see. So just a little side note real quick here, because I know that my daughter is gonna eventually watch this. So I just want to tell you that even though I talked about us being upset when I found out I was pregnant, or us crying about it because we didn't know what we were gonna do, or because it's something that wasn't ideal at the moment, I just want to let you know and be sure that even though all of that happened, you were not a mistake in my life or in our life in general. Yes, you were not planned, but you were wanted. You were very wanted by all of us, and it wasn't such an enjoyable pregnancy just because we had to deal with a bunch of things during those months. But just know that in no way do I regret having you, or do we regret having you in our life. Like, you are such a big blessing for us. Like, you have taught me so much. You showed me how strong I really was when I thought that I was weak, that I wasn't going to be able to handle it, or, you know, just having you and knowing that you look up to me and love me the way you love me is just such a big blessing. Like, I wouldn't have it any other way. If I had to go through it all again just to have you at the end, I would do it. I would do it again because you were worth it. Because you are a blessing in my life, and I love you. I love you so much. And I can't even imagine my life without you. So just know that even though in this video I do say that I was worried or scared at times, or that we were upset or crying, just know that it was part of the process, just because we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to expect. But now we are all happy that you are in our life. We love you. You know, your uncles love you. Your grandparents love you. You know, you have so many people that care for you and want to see you succeed in life, because you are such a smart, beautiful, intelligent little girl. And I know you're going to do big things way better than me. Like, you're going to be way better than me. And that's what I pray for every single day. So just know we all love you, and we're all happy that you're in our lives. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Like I said, if you guys would want to see more story times, just comment down below, let us know, or give us ideas about any kind of videos that you guys would like to see on our channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe and tell your family and friends about us. And I hope this video was something that helped at least one person, maybe. I don't know, maybe you're going through the same situation, or maybe you have gone through the same situation and are still trying to figure out how things are gonna work out for you. Just know that it all goes away, okay? Like, there's someone that just found out they're pregnant, and they're young, they're underage, and they're scared, and they don't know what to do. Just know that it's part of the process, and that it all goes away. Like, one day you're just gonna look back and feel blessed to have been through it, because that it's gonna give you something beautiful. It's gonna show you how strong you really are, and that you can handle it, because God does not let us go through anything that we can't handle. If you're going through it, and if you think it's too much, just pray about it, just tell God about it, and He's gonna help you see that you can handle it, that you are strong enough, and that you're gonna get through it, because it all goes away eventually. The pain goes away, the healing begins, and then it's just something beautiful ahead. So just stay positive, stay strong, remain praying all the time, because He's the only one that's gonna be able to help you through it all. So if this video helps at least one person, I'm okay with that. If this helps one person realize that they're not alone, that they're not the only ones that go through things like this, and that eventually it does become a big blessing in your life, then I'm good with that. I just wanted to share part of my story, just so that you guys know a little bit more about us. I can keep doing more videos if that's something you guys would be interested in. But that's it for today. Hope everyone has an amazing week, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.